How's it going, YouTubers? Elliot here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another Elliot Reads video, guys. I'm going to be doing my February and March wrap-ups. Yes, I know they're a bit late, especially the February one. I didn't have time to kind of record anything after I had read all the books. I kind of got a bit burnt out reading so many romance books. But I read 5 in February. And I read 2 in March because, like I said, I was too burnt out from reading so many romance. Like, I just didn't feel like reading, so I only got 2 read in March. So I'm gonna go through and tell you a bit about them and what I thought of them and things like that and give my rating. You know how this works by now. I've done it a million times by now. So yeah, let's get into it and let's see what I read for February, March and what I thought of them. Okay guys, the first book that I read for the month of February was Book Lovers by Emily Henry. This is about Nora, and she is a literary agent, so she has clients who write books and it's her job to try and find them people who are going to like help them write the book, edit it, like kind of like a assistant sort of thing. So it's her job to go and help these people find it. And one of her really loyal clients has just finished one of her books, and she wants to send Nora bits of it to get her to proofread it and see if anything needs editing, changing and things like that. So Nora's on her way to a meeting to meet this guy called Charlie who does what she needs, and she's hoping that she can partner her client with this guy so they can work together into editing this book and making it perfect so it can go on to sale. She's late to this meeting and she's getting broken up by her boyfriend while she's on the way to this meeting, so it puts her mood on a bit of a damper. And obviously she eventually gets there and she meets Charlie, and he kind of tells her that he didn't like Dusty's latest book that she had just recently published out. He doesn't feel comfortable working with her on this next book because he doesn't feel like it's gonna be as good as her first book that she wrote. So she gets a bit huffy and petty about it, and she's like, okay, well fine, whatever. And they choose not to work together, so that's fine, they go their separate ways. Then it skips like a couple of years ahead, a couple of months ahead, I can't remember. Nora's sister Libby wants to go and get away just so both of them can chill and get away from the busy day-to-day life, because Nora is like literally work heavy. She just focuses on work, she doesn't focus on anything else. Work is our main priority and our clients are our main priority. So she kind of doesn't do anything for herself in our spare time. So Libby, our sister, wants to kind of get away from the city and go to like a little village countryside thing. No runs into Charlie there, but she's obviously still working while she's there, and Dusty is sending her bits of the new book that she's writing. Who is our client? She's sending her bits of books that she's writing and she's getting her to proofread it. And obviously she starts sending this to Charlie, and Charlie loves the idea of the book, so he agrees this time to work with Dusty and get this book written and out for publish. And while she's in this village where Charlie actually lives, she starts to obviously spend more time with Charlie because they're working on this book together for the client, and they start to get feelings for each other. But obviously Nora doesn't want to leave the big city and the hustle and bustle of the city because she's so used to it. She doesn't think she can survive in a village, quiet village environment. So she basically tells Charlie that they can't be together for that reason, because he has to move back there to help his parents with the bookshop that they own. So they would be separated in long distance. Doesn't really work out. It's hard to maintain a relationship long distance, so they kind of know that, so they kind of just make the most of the time that Nora's there working on the book with Charlie. And yeah, she knows that she wants to be with Charlie, and then Charlie kind of surprises her and's like, okay, I'm back in the city, hello, let's do this, let's have a relationship and let's do it properly, sort of thing. So yeah, that was pretty much the gist of Book Lovers. It was okay. I just don't get why it's so hyped up. I don't get why Emily Henry's books are so hyped up, especially with TikTok and BookTok and things like that. It just wasn't for me. I found Nora really petty and immature, and she just done my head in, really. And Charlie was a very boring character, not memorable at all. Libby was pretty cool, her sister was pretty cool, and not really memorable either. She didn't bring anything really to the story for me and to the characters. So the characters I didn't really click with. The story was slow and predictable. I knew where I was going. I knew what was going to happen. It was just so predictable. So I gave this one 3 stars, and that was my reason why. So yeah, that's the first book I read in February. Okay guys, the second book I read for the month of February was The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams. And this is about Bree and Nathan, who have been friends for a very long time. Nathan is a famous quarterback in a football team. Throughout the years that they have known each other, they have developed feelings in secret for each other, but none of them know about it. So they kind of keep it to themselves and don't tell each other that they've got feelings for each other. And one day when they're out celebrating one of the team's birthday, Bree actually blabs to a reporter that she doesn't know it's a reporter, but she blabs to a reporter that she has feelings for Nathan and she believes Nathan has feelings for her. So of course the next day the story's in the tabloids, and to do a bit of damage control they agree to get into a fake relationship. But obviously they do have feelings for each other, so Nathan and his teammates know that he has feelings for her and she has feelings for him because they can just tell. But they work with Nathan anyways to come up with a cheat sheet of how to get Bree to notice him and want to date him. So they come up with that list, and he starts doing the things on this list. And then after a while of doing this fake dating, actually like knocks their heads together a bit like, well, I do actually have feelings for you and I have feelings for you, so let's just do this properly sort of thing. So they end up doing that and they end up actually getting together in the end. Spoilers, yes, they start to get together in the end. That is pretty much what that book was about. I did really enjoy it. I did connect with the characters. I thought they were both really cool. I liked the idea of the story, which was like a slow burn romance. It was really, really sweet. And like I said, I really connected with Bree and Nathan. I loved both of the characters and they just made the story really cool. Really enjoyed it. I gave this one 4 stars and I would definitely read another Sarah Adams book. Yes, I gave this one 4 stars. Really enjoyed it and the story was really good. Really liked the whole idea of the slow burn romance and the fact that I had been friends for a while and Nathan doing all this sweet stuff just to try and get her to form a relationship with her. And be like, hey, hello, I actually like you. Do you like me? Can we make this a real thing, not fake it? Because it sucks faking it when I have to try and hide my feelings for you. So yeah, really, really cute, really enjoyed it, and I gave that one 4 stars. So that was the second book I read in the month of February. Okay guys, the third book I read for the month of February was Set On You by Amy Lee. And this is about Crystal, who is a influencer online, but she's kind of like on the heavy side, but she is a fitness influencer either way. And she posts a lot of her fitness journey on social media to her followers. And one day when she's doing her usual routine of filming in the gym, a guy called Scott comes in and steals her favourite squat rack. So she gets a bit pissed off about that and peeved about it. And then obviously he notices that it annoys her, so he starts coming back to that gym and doing it more often just to peeve her off. So this forms like sexual tension between them. And she starts to kind of be like, this guy's quite fit. I kind of like the look of him. I kind of like, but he's a twat, but I kind of like him, sort of thing. We skip ahead a bit to her forming like a rivalry with him. But like obviously there's sexual tension there, and they do like want to canoodle with each other. They do want to like make the babas with each other, but they don't tell each other that. They just like let it flitter in the air till like one day in the shower room they kind of like kiss, but then they don't speak of anything of that. They just let it go, just like that never happened. Nothing happened. We didn't do anything. Nothing happened. We'll skip ahead a few months after that, and Crystal is attending her grandma's engagement party, and lo and behold, Scott shows up, and her grandma's actually engaged to his granddad, and they get married in a few weeks' time. So they obviously start spending more time together because obviously the family are trying to get to know each other. So they start to obviously develop feelings for each other and end up getting into a relationship with each other. But obviously with Crystal being a heavier woman, she gets a lot of backlash online saying, like, obviously Scott's just with her because she's an influencer with a lot of followers and he's fame grabbing basically. And all of this just like being really horrible about because of her size. So it really puts her in a downward spiral, in a really bad place mentally. So she doesn't feel like she can be in a relationship because of this. So they kind of separate, and she realizes what a stupid mistake she's made by separating with him just because for this reason, letting the trolls get the better of her. So she tries to obviously win him back, which she does, which is really sweet. I'm so glad she wins him back. Really enjoyed this book. It was very slow, it was very slow, and it didn't need to be as long as it was. I think she could have wrapped it up sooner than she did. I feel the book didn't need to go on for as long as it did. But I did enjoy it. I love the characters. The characters were really sweet. Love the characters. Connected with them, no problem. Story was really nice. I like the whole idea of the families coming together. So that's how they're kind of like, oh, this is how we're gonna get to know each other because our families are kind of coming together, sort of thing. So yeah, that was really sweet. And I just like the message that it kind of sent out of like all the hate and how cruel this world is now, just like completely cruel online, how hard it is for bigger women online to basically just live the life and make themselves feel better just by doing like the gym, healthy eating, things like this. And it's just, and then you've got these people, these cretins who just come online and just put them down for no reason whatsoever. It's just disgusting. And I like that this book is like showing that side of it and showing how detrimental it can be on someone's mental health and how it affects the relationships around them, because you get so in your head that it just takes over everything. So I do like the message that sends out about stuff like that. So yeah, but the story is just very slow. So that's the reason I gave this book 3 stars. But if it wasn't so slow and it wasn't so dragged out, I would have probably rated it higher. But yes, that is the reason I gave it 3 stars. And that was the 3rd book I read for the month of February. Okay guys, the 4th book I read for the month of February was The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. And this is about Olive. And Olive went on a date recently with this guy. And it didn't really work out, but her best friend seems to think that she still likes this guy. But she doesn't. She really does not. Her best friend kind of starts to develop feelings for this guy that she went on a date with. But obviously with the friend code, she won't date the guy because she believes Olive still likes him. And she doesn't want to betray our best friend, sort of thing. So what Olive does is she pretends that she has moved on and she's in a new relationship and she's really happy. And when she's in the corridor one day at uni, her friend Anne coming down the corridor, so she kisses like the first guy she sees. But what she doesn't realise until after she's done it is this guy who she kisses is one of the professors of the university called Adam. And he has a reputation for being quite strict with his students, being a bit of an ass with them, and like really giving them a hard time about the work and things, and basically making them cry and question themselves. He's got a bit of a bad reputation in this thing. She tells him the reason why she kissed him, and he agrees to go along with the story that they are dating so that Olive's friend Anne can start dating the guy who she went on a date with. So it proves that she's over it. When they start to spend more time together, because they obviously have to act like a couple, so they have to like obviously meet up and do things together. So they start meeting up like at a coffee shop every Wednesday to like just chat for like 5 minutes and have a coffee or a tea. Yeah, so it looks like they're actually together. They're not just like faking it, like so people wouldn't catch on that they're faking it. But obviously while they're doing this fake dating, they obviously start to develop feelings for each other, and Olive finds out the reason that Adam agreed to do this fake dating thing was because the university has froze his funds until a certain point. They think he's a flight risk because there's better offers to do the research that he's doing and progress that research in other universities. So they think that he's going to go to one of these other universities and leave them. So they won't give him a grant and they won't release his funds to like progress his research until they know that he's not a flight risk, and then he's not going to leave them. So that's why he's agreed to be in a relationship with Olive, because she's at this university and obviously he's not going to go anywhere if he's in a relationship. So that's the reason he isn't doing this fake dating. Now she's doing the fake dating to prove to our friend Anne that she's moved on. Pretty much the premise of the story, they spend more time together, they start developing feelings, and then they get into an actual relationship together because she actually finds out he's really sweet under all that tough exterior. And yeah, she kind of like breaks down his walls and he breaks down her walls. Yeah, that was pretty much the premise of the story. I really enjoyed it. Really liked the characters. I liked the whole idea of like it being a forbidden love kind of thing because it's like professor and student, and it's like pretty taboo. So it's like pretty cool. It was kind of like it was pretty interesting to read, and it was nice to see their feelings develop and how they developed. I liked the pacing of it. It was really well paced, and the characters were really enjoyable. I did connect with the characters in this story, which was really good because I feel the characters make the story. If you don't connect with them, then you're not going to enjoy the story, but I did, and I really enjoyed it, so I gave this one 4 stars, and that was the 4th book I read in the month of February. Okay guys, the 5th and final book I read in February was Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter, and this is about Liz, who is so into romantic movies. Her and her mum watch them religiously until her mum sadly passes away, and she's had these childhood friends who is Wes, who lives next door, and Michael, who moved away with his family. Then had a few other friends. They're all older now, and they've all progressed in school. And prom is coming up for their school. And Michael makes a return back to their hometown. And obviously, word gets around to Liz that he's back. So she's had a crush on Michael since they were young kids, because they grew up together, so she had a crush on him ever since they were young. So her plan is to try and get Michael to notice her and ask him to prom. But because Wes still is very good friends with Michael, Liz kind of realizes Wes is her way to get to Michael. She kind of uses Wes to be like, right, well, you're friends with Michael, so we need to have a plan where you big me up to Michael that he should be with me and ask me to prom. And then, so they come up with this plan where obviously Wes is going to big her up and things like that. She asks Wes to invite her to things which Michael's attending, so she can show him that she's cool now and like they should be together and go to prom together. But every time they meet at something, like the first time they meet at a party, she kind of gets thrown up upon. This girl who's completely blackout drunk kind of spews all over her, and obviously she has to leave the party and go home because she's just drenched in vomit. It's disgusting. So that meeting didn't go well with Michael, so that puts a bit of dampener on her mood because she thinks, oh no, that's completely ruined it. That's so embarrassing. He's not going to want to go anywhere with me. He's not going to ask me to prom after that. She kind of dampens it, but Wes is like bigging her up, like, no, it'll be okay. We can come back from this. We'll think of something. And then again, when Wes invites her to come to a basketball, like hang out and play basketball with Michael and a few of his other friends, she agrees to attend with them. And while they're hanging out, a basketball kind of gets lunged at her and smacks her in the face, and she kind of has to go to the hospital. And the one who volunteers to take her is Wes. She's spending more and more time with Wes, trying to come up with plans to try and get Michael to notice her, that she kind of starts to look at Wes and think, Wes is actually pretty fucking cute. And he really cares because he kind of, it feels like he understands me more like than anyone. So she starts to develop feelings for Wes, and they actually share a kiss. Then they don't speak of it because they're like, oh, that was a mistake. Why did we do that? That was oof. But obviously they do both have feelings for each other, but they don't tell each other that. So they kind of just put that kiss down to a mistake. We're carrying on this charade of Michael trying to get him to ask her to prom. Obviously, Wes asks another girl to prom. Liz kind of realizes that it makes her jealous, and she's really bothered about this because she actually does have feelings for Wes. She doesn't want Michael anymore. Michael's not her happy ending anymore. She's starting to see the light and like actually see that Wes is a really good guy, a really nice guy, and he's really, really cute. But she gets her dream that she had originally set out to get, which was Michael asking her to prom, because Michael actually asks her to prom. So they go to prom, but she's not feeling it. She doesn't feel the vibes with him. She just wishes she was there with Wes. And so she ditches prom because she sees her Wes there with another girl. So she's like, ditches prom. She goes to Michael, you go and find that girl that you like, because she likes you, because there's a girl that's pining for Michael as well as she was. So she tells him to go and find her and be with her, because they're a better match than him and her are. So she ditches prom after she's told Michael to go and do that, and she tries to do a grand gesture of waiting for Wes to get home from prom, and then being like, I really like you, I really want you, you're the person I want. Michael was never the person I want. I realised that very, very quickly, that it was you that I wanted. But of course, he comes back with this girl he went to prom with. So that all fizzles out and she gets really embarrassed and just walks away. But then, obviously, like the day after, they obviously come together and they talk about it, and then obviously they reveal their feelings to each other. And then they obviously get into a relationship, and yay, because that's what it should have been all along. It should have been them two together. Because it just fits so well and they're so cute. Oh my god. But yes, that was the 5th book I read for the month of February, and I absolutely love this book. So good. Really enjoyed it. The characters I connected with so well. I was rooting for Wes to get Liz because they just needed to be together. Every time she was like, oh, I need to do this with Mike. And I'm like, no, you don't. You need to stay on track with Wes. Wes likes you. You like Wes, so get with Wes. Because, no, Michael doesn't deserve you. Wes has always been there. Wes is there. Can he not say he likes you too? But yes, really enjoyed the story. Really loved the build up to them actually realising that they like each other and that it should have been them together all along and that she should have just went with Wes in the first place. Really enjoyed the story. Really enjoyed the characters. Highly recommend the read. Gave it 5 stars, of course. First 5-star read of that month, so good. Love that book, and I will definitely read a Moblin Painter's work because, oh, wow, so good. So amazing. But yeah, that was the 5 books I read in February, so we're going to move on to March, and yeah, I'll tell you about the 2 books I read in March. Okay guys, the first book I read in March was Into the Pit, which is the first in the Fazbear Frights series. And these have 3 short horror stories in each one that is set in the Freddy Fazbear's world. The first story in the Into the Pit book follows a guy called Oswald, and he is coming up to summer vacation, but his best friend has moved away because his parents got better jobs, because the town where they live, things are starting to close down due to bankruptcy, so there's not a lot of stuff around. And he hasn't got any other friends apart from that guy who moved away. So he thinks he's going to be in for a pretty boring summer because he's got nothing else to do. His family's not that well off, so they can only give him like $3.50 to go and get a slice of pizza and a soda from this local pizza shop. So what he does every summer is his dad drives him to the library and he spends his day at the library. Then by lunchtime he goes and gets a pizza and a soda at this pizza restaurant, and then his dad picks him up from that pizza place. But while he's in this pizza place, one day you notice like a cornered off section, what looks like used to be an extension on the pizza, like the pizza shop. It looked like it used to be like a pizzeria sort of thing with like an arcade built in, stuff like that, and a ball pit and all this stuff. And he comes to realise that it was actually one of the old Freddy Fazbear Pizza's location. And obviously it got closed down for a certain reason. One day when the pizza guy isn't looking, he goes into the ball pit that's still there, and obviously it's all musty and nasty. But it teleports him into Freddy Fazbear's Pizza was open, and he runs into these 2 kids there, and they start playing on the arcade machine. So he goes back there to that dimension every single day for the rest of his holidays until he spots the yellow rabbit, which we all know what the yellow rabbit is. That was the one that killed all the children, lured all the children and killed them. So he's witnessing this happening in real time, time. Once he goes into that ball pit and is in that dimension, he's witnessing this playing out in real time, like this rabbit luring children and killing them, and that's the reason why that Freddy Fazbear's got closed down and became just that little cornered off pizza shop. One day when he's in there, he decides to hide in there from his dad, just for a laugh. And his dad finds him, but this rabbit, yellow rabbit, drags his dad into the pit and puts him in some dimension which he doesn't know about. And then he morphs into his dad, like the rabbit morphs into his dad. So only he can see this yellow rabbit, but everyone else sees that rabbit is the dad. So it obviously goes home with him and it's pretending to be his dad. And he's like trying to explain to his mum, this isn't dad, mum. This is a rabbit from a dimension that isn't even this one. But no one believes him, they just see it as the dad. So he tries to go back to this pizzeria and tries to save his dad. But obviously, the rabbit chases him, and then it ends with just the rabbit following him back into this ball pit. Okay guys, the second short story in the Fazbear Frights Into the Pit book is To Be Beautiful, which the story is called. And this is about Sarah, who doesn't like her appearance and how she looks. She thinks she's got like a big nose and things, and she doesn't like anything about herself. She wants to change it. She wants to get like surgery done to actually change her appearance, but our friend's like, you're beautiful the way you are, you don't need to change anything, you're really young, so you haven't even filled out properly yet. Your body can still make changes as you grow up. You don't need to change anything yet. But she doesn't obviously listen, and on the way home one night, she discovers a metal doll, his arm hanging out of a car in the salvage yard. So she's like, oh, that's pretty cool. So she goes and rescues this doll, and she finds this doll is beautiful, and it's just like, wow. And she decides to take this doll home and clean her up a bit. So she takes the doll home and she cleans the doll up and turns it on, and the doll is really thankful for her rescuing her and cleaning her up. So she's like, I'll do anything you want. I'll do anything you want me to. You, any wish is my command that you that you want. And obviously she wishes to be beautiful. So the doll gives her this necklace and goes, wear this necklace, never take it off. It can never be taken off. If you do, something bad will happen, so don't take it off ever. And just like, every night when you go to sleep, I have to sing you this song, and once you wake up, you'll be a bit more beautiful every single day when you wake up. If I sing you to sleep and you wake up, you become more beautiful each day. So Sarah agrees to it, and she lets the doll sing her to sleep every night. And every single time she wakes up the next morning, something on her body has changed. So her arms are nice and thin and long, and she has nice legs. She's got a different nose. Her nose is all nice now. Like, her face is like formed like really nice and things. And obviously she goes to school and she starts like getting noticed by like boys, and the popular girls start noticing that and inviting her into their clique and things. And things are going really well for her. She's getting everything that she wants, so she keeps thanking the doll every night, like, thank you so much, this was the best day ever. Everyone really likes me now, and the popular girls want me to be in their group. I'm seeing this nice guy now that I'm beautiful and things. The doll's like, yep, that's fine. More than my pleasure, because you helped me, so I'll help you. But remember, do not take off the necklace at any point. She's like, okay, I know, I won't. Then one day when she's in the cafeteria, she ends up falling because she slips on some food in the cafeteria and ends up falling. And the necklace flies off, and she starts to change into this mutant garbage animatronic thing. And it turns out that the doll was basically cutting off her limbs to replace them with robotic parts. And once she took off that necklace, that spell was broken, and she turned into the thing that the robot had been using to make her beautiful. And when she fully forms back into this abomination that she is, then the doll takes over her life. The doll transforms into her and takes over her life, so no one knows that it's not actually her, and she is actually this trash heap in the garage. So yeah, very intense, and a very important lesson to love yourself for who you are and don't try and change yourself, because there's consequences to it. So yeah. The third story in the book is Count the Ways, and this is about Millie, who is a stereotypical goth girl. She dresses all in black, she reads dark poetry, she wants to die, you know, all that goth stuff. Typical stereotypical goth stuff. And obviously her parents live in a different country, so she is staying with her granddad, and bless his heart, he tries his best to make her feel so comfortable there, but she just treats him like garbage. Like, it's not nice. She treats him horribly, and he's just trying his best to make her feel comfortable there. And so it's getting close to Christmas in this book for this story, and he's having like obviously family round. He's having some of the family round, like dad's brothers coming round to the house and stuff with their kids and his wife. And obviously she doesn't want to spend time with him, so she goes in a huff and say she's going on a walk. And her granddad has this like workshop which he goes to every now and again, like in the garage. There's like a workshop like downstairs, and he goes and tinkers with his stuff down there. So she goes and hides down there because it's warm, and she notices in that garage workshop that he has a animatronic bear down there, and you can actually get into this bear and sit in it comfortably. So that's what she does. She gets into this bear and closes the lid, so she's hidden away so no one can find her, so she can have some peace until the family members go home. Then she can go back upstairs and be like, right, okay, that's them out the way, and that's Christmas out the way, so bye, YOLO. So yeah, she does that, but then this animatronic comes to life, and he's like, well, you want to die, so let's think of a way to kill you while you're in me. And he lists all these ways that he can kill her, and he makes her pick which one she wants. So she goes with decapitation by like a blade coming through his body to like chop her in half. But she's obviously trying to find ways to get out why he's listing off all these ways that he can kill her. She realizes that if she like bundles really small in the corner of his tummy, that the blade might miss her. So he counts down for the blade going obviously through his stomach, and that's where the book cuts off, like where the blade goes through the body. So we don't know if she lived or if she died. So it kind of like cuts off. It was really, really cool. It was really exciting. Really, really intense. Like, all these stories were really intense, but they're really cool to read. Okay, but yeah, anyways, they were really intense stories for, like, a young adult book, but they were really engaged. They kept you engaged. They were really cool. Really cool to see, like, different stories from the Fazbear world and how they interpret them. It was really, really good. Really enjoyed them. All three of them I really enjoyed. And I did give this book 4 stars, so that was the first book I read in March. The second book I read in March was obviously the second in the Fazbear Frights series, which was called Fetch. The first story in Fetch was about Greg and his friends. They go to the abandoned pizzeria, like a Five Nights at Freddy's pizzeria. They go into the abandoned pizzeria, and they're looking around, and in the prize counter they see this animatronic dog called Fetch, where the story comes from. Greg tries to get Fetch to work, but he has no joy of getting it to work, so they just carry on looking around, and then they hear a noise which freaks them out, so they run out of the pizzeria and go home. Thinking nothing of it, a few days later, Greg gets a text from an unknown number claiming to be this Fetch animatronic. He thinks that's a bit weird. Fetch is like out, like obviously he does anything that Greg wants because he's trying to get on Greg's good side. Greg never sees him, he just gets these text messages. So he knows everything that Greg's thinking about, like everything he's texting to his friends or family members and things. The dog replies to it. So he's like asking his friend a Spanish question for Spanish class, and the dog replies before his friend does, saying like, this is the answer. Obviously there's a dog next door, like the next door neighbours have a dog, and the dog is really vicious and it attacks Greg quite a lot. And Greg's like, oh, I wish a dog would just stop, and it's so annoying, this dog. I hate this dog so much. So Fetch annihilates the dog and leaves it for Greg to find, which is very gross. So Greg kind of realizes that Fetch is very dangerous. He doesn't believe at first like it is Fetch talking to him. The more and more things that start happening, he starts to realize that maybe it is Fetch, and he needs to put a stop to Fetch before he does some real damage to someone, like a proper, like an actual human. He's talking with his uncle one night, and he says, oh, the joke that his uncle's got like a lucky finger because he won him a toy in a crane machine by putting his index finger on it. They call it his lucky finger because he won it. So he's like, oh, I need a bit of that lucky finger right now because my life's just in tatters right now. So Fetch goes and gets him the uncle's lucky finger and puts it on his doorstep. That starts to freak Greg out, and he realizes this is actually really serious, and that it was lucky that only his uncle's finger got damaged and not actually his life got taken away from him. He tries to put a stop to Fetch by obviously destroying him. That was the first book in the second Fazbear Frights that I read. The second story in the Fazbear Frights 2 was Lonely Freddy, and this was about Alec and his sister. His sister, he feels, is very spoiled. She's the golden child, and his parents think he's like the naughty one. He's like the embarrassment of the family. They're obviously planning the sister's birthday party and she's going to have it at Freddy Fazbear's. So he's coming up with a plan to show that his sister's really spoiled and ungrateful, and she just puts on this act as of the golden child, and that he wants to show her true colours and things at her party because there's a chance to win a Foxy toy, and he wants to try and sabotage that in a way so she'll have a freak out and a breakdown and show everyone her true colours. She wants to form an alliance with him because she feels like her brother hates her, and she just wants to be friends with her brother and have him love her, basically. On the weeks leading up to the party, they form an alliance that she is going to be the bad kid and he's going to be the good kid, to see how their parents react, because the parents are trying self-help books, parental self-help books, to try and wash Alex's bad behaviour. And obviously he finds this out and he gets pretty annoyed about it, so he's like, well, I'm just gonna rebel even more. But his sister's like, no, don't do that, we'll switch places, because I'm always the golden child, so it'll really mess with them and show them that you're not as bad as they think you are. So they do that for the bits leading up to the party, and then they still carry on at the party. And then these kids running around with these little Freddy toys, they're about that big, and they're following them around. And it's for the kids who don't fit in, who are really bad kids, and they've got no friends because of their attitude and how they treat people. So they get given this Freddy, so they've got a friend, and it's called Lonely Freddy's. When this party's going on, it's actually Alec who has the breakdown and shows everyone how horrible he is to his sister, and how spoiled he is, and how just entitled he thinks he is and things like that. So he gets embarrassed and then runs off to be no one understands his, oh bro, that typical teenage thing. So he runs off and he goes into a service room somewhere in the pizzeria, and he comes across another Lonely Freddy who's been left in the storage room, and he's talking to this Lonely Freddy and answering the questions, and one of the questions is, what is your biggest regret? And he says, being horrible to my sister. And then he finds himself shrinking and that he can't move. So he thinks he's paralyzed, he thinks he's had a seizure or something, but it turns out he has actually turned into Lonely Freddy because of his attitude, and it's the Lonely Freddy trying to teach him a lesson. So Lonely Freddy takes his place as human Alec, and he is now a Lonely Freddy. But he is trying to get to his family in the party to be help, I've been turned into a bear, help me, what do I do? How do I get out of this situation? But someone pukes on him, so the family's ew, gross. They don't obviously know it's him, and they tell the employee oh, sorry, we've ruined one of your bears. One of the kids was sick on him. So they take him to the back room and puts him in this trash bin with loads of other Lonely Freddies of bad kids who have been turned into Lonely Freddies. And they're trapped there forever because they can't get out, they can't speak, so they can't tell someone that it's them. So they're stuck in this bin for the rest of their life as Lonely Freddies. Really, really cool. I love that story. That was so good. So good. And the final story in the Fazbear Frights book 2 was out of stock, and this is about Oscar and his friends Isaac and Raj, and a new plush trap chaser has just come out, toy. That's just come out, and it's in really high demand because it's obviously Finding His Friends is really popular. They have a plan to pool all their money together and get one between them and share custody of the plush trap chaser. So after school they plan to go to the toy store and wait in line and get one, basically. But Oscar's mum phones him while he's on the last part of the school day and says, I need your help because she works in a care home. She's like, I need your help. One of the residents has gone into an episode and he only listens to you. So he's like, fine. Okay, he's like, if I don't make it, please get one. He has my money, get one. He goes to the care home and helps out his mum, and then after he's dealt with the problem at the care home, he goes and meets his friends at the mall. When they get to the mall, they're in line, and the few plush trap chasers start getting sold. And when him and his friends get to the front of the line, they're sold out already. And he's devastated because he really wants this plush trap chaser more than anything. He sees like a couple of employees and the manager huddled like in the background, and they're huddled around the box talking about how we had this plush trap chaser looks that has been returned. It looks almost human, like it's got like human teeth, human eyes. It looks really weird. It doesn't like the other ones that they have in stock. And he overhears this, but he's like, that's the only plush trap that's in stock. I want that. So he says to the guy, he's like, I'll buy that one that's over there that's been returned. I don't care if it's damaged. I don't care about anything. I just want a plush trap chaser. Like, no, it's not right. It's not being sold. It's not for sale. No, definitely not. So what he decides to do is steal it. So he jumps the counter, steals the plush trap chaser, and runs with it. So him and his friends leg it out of this mall with this plush trap chaser. And then once they get it home, they realise why they were looking at the employees and the manager were reluctant to sell this toy, because it does look like it has human teeth and human eyes. It doesn't look right at all. He's trying to figure out how to turn it on, and obviously to no avail. He doesn't get it working, and his friends are just like, oh, just leave it. It doesn't matter. It's busted. That's why it got returned. So he's like, what did you expect? It's busted. That's why it got returned. Blah, blah, blah. Cut to a few days later. He's still trying to get this thing to work. One night they have a power outage, and lo and behold, the plush trap chaser starts working. And it is not right. And it is out to kill. That thing is out to kill. So yeah, it tries to obviously trump down on the boys, and they remember in the booklet it says you have to shine a light on the plush trap chaser to stop it from moving. And luckily they have flashlights, so they do that. But obviously the flashlight's battery isn't very long lasting, so it starts to flicker and they start to panic. Try to think of a plan of what to do and where to go to get away from this plush trap chaser that's trying to kill them. And obviously they get out of the house and they think, what can we do? How can we stop this? Because nothing is going to stop this thing until it kills us, basically. So Oscar has an idea of the train tracks. So he's like, the train has a big light, it'll stop it and then it'll run it over. So they bolt towards the train tracks. Isaac and Raj go on to the other side of the train tracks, and Oscar says, I'll wait until it's further in and then I'll dip when it's on the tracks. So that's what he does, and it's a really close call, but he actually pulls it off, and the car gets rid of this plush trap chaser and crushes it so it can no longer attack the boys. So yeah, that was the third story in the Fazbear Frights book 2. So yeah, really enjoyed both Fazbear Frights books. They're really, really well written for a young adult book. They do keep you really gripped, and they're both really intense story. They're all really intense stories, and most of them have a really important message, obviously. So yeah, really enjoyed both Fazbear Frights books. The characters are all really cool in every story. I like how it's tied into the Five Nights at Freddy's world, and each one is unique to a certain animatronic that is in the Fazbear world. And yeah, give both books 4 stars, and that was the 2 books I read for the month of March. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed my wrap up for them 2 months. I'm sorry this video was really long, but I had to put obviously 2 months of books into this. I'll be back shortly with my April TBR. I've already started one of the books in my April TBR, so that'll be coming out shortly, but I hope you enjoyed my reviews of the books that I did read. And here are my opinions and ratings on them. I'm going to end this one here. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, don't forget to smash the like button down below. Subscribe to the channel, thank you so much. Catch you guys in the live stream video. Peace out guys, see you tonight. Welcome to the audio.